Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ plus story for today. I'm Edward Otto-Zelke, and let's queer up politics. DC Museum terminates Black and LGBTQ shows after Trump threatens funding. The Art Museum of the Americas in Washington, D.C. has canceled 2 exhibitions featuring Black and queer artists. The decision follows President Trump's executive orders eliminating diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI initiatives from federally funded programs. Curator Cheryl D. said she received a call from the museum director, Adriana Ospina, stating, "The museum is terminated." Canadian artist Andil Gosine received a similar message with no explanation provided. The museum is part of the Organization of American States, which the U.S. funds heavily. Trump's orders have pushed Secretary of State Marco Rubio to sever ties with organizations promoting DEI. Gosine fears this policy means throwing queer people, queer artists, marginal people under the bus. This is kind of reminiscent of, what we personally went through in the chorus, a year ago. And, our state funds were taken away from us. And so that I know what that feels like. And I think you're going to see more of that on the federal level. You'll see a lot of picking and choosing of where they're going to probably want to put their money. But, we're a resilient bunch, our LGBTQ plus people, and, you may just take away from the federal. But, you've got a lot of great donors, you've got a lot of great people, you've got a lot of great companies that are also willing to invest in the arts and culture. I mean, we saw this 2 weeks ago in D.C. with the Gay Men's Chorus of Washington. They were part of the National Symphony Orchestra, and that was canceled too at the Kennedy Center. So, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
And we'll see more of this, of course, but that doesn't silence us.
No.
It doesn't take away our art. We just choose to put it in a different venue.
Yes, yeah, and we just get other people to support. Now is the time, like you said, Edward, for our LGBTQ and ally philanthropists that are out there. Right, right now is the time to put your money where your mouth is. We really need your support in instances like this. Where it's like, can you imagine? Well, you all can imagine putting your blood, sweat, and tears into an event or something going on, and then you getting an email with no explanation, just saying we're cutting your funding or all funding has been frozen until further notice. Like, it's March. How do you continue with the rest of the year getting an email like that?
Absolutely. And you know what? Whatever your thoughts are of DEI, this is not DEI.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like saying, you know what? We're going to have to do Broadway musicals, but without gay people. All right.
We all laugh because we don't think it's possible.
If you want the best people on the job, you're going to bring in the queer community, okay?
Yeah.
So, just the idea that we have to go so far in the other direction to say, all right, well, we don't want everything to be focused on a certain minority group, to now saying we have to exclude minority groups from art.
Yeah.
How can you exclude a minority group from art? That's part of art. That's part of the mission of art. So this is ridiculous. Please don't use the term DEI in any of what's going on. This is just flat out discrimination against gay people who are so far disproportionately represented in the arts that are doing all the things that you love. So, I think you should let them know, the people, Trump, everybody, that you want your arts, and artists all across America and all the arts organizations, we need to solidify together and to have more of a unified voice in this, to let our constituency, let the people who are donating know that these are the people, this is what's going on, so they can make their voices heard, because they tend to listen to people who have more money, not the starving artists.
It's true. Edward, you were going to say?
No, he actually just said everything I was going to say. It was fantastic. But I think, I echo it. Really, it's just, it's definitely something that we have to really invest in, in terms of our communities. It's something they're just trying to silence our stories. They really just want us to just not tell who we are.
No, and that's
the bottom line. And you know, I'm going to be very vocal and talk about who I am and who my organization is, the Gay Men's Chorus, and that's my job.
Right.
Yes, yeah, and you know, thank you so much for also mentioning that DEI had nothing to do with this. You know, the rhetoric, right? The wording that they use has got people confused as to what DEI means. Get this, most people don't even know what it stands for. Okay, don't understand what the acronym stands for, but thinks it was the reason that the Black Hawk, fighter plane went down.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, I mean, using that kind of rhetoric, you know, like, come on, people, educate yourself, you know.
You know what? Maybe we need a day instead of that whole, what was it, the blackout where we didn't spend money, that kind of thing. I didn't even know how that was going to work. How do you even track that? But maybe we should have a minority day off, and like just to show America, what would it be like if the minority populations just didn't show up for work? We didn't.
And by minorities, you mean the gays, you mean the Latinos, you mean if you were marginalized or a minority, then let's stay home that day.
Yeah, you'll see how much we contribute to this society.
And we'll see how many people actually identify as something that maybe they didn't think that they were.
Right? When they try to leave the house, bitch.
I know you're straight.
I know you're straight. Get out. You gotta go do it.
You know, and the interesting thing is, this artist, I mean, this organization doesn't just pick a random artist. I mean, obviously this artist had a story to tell.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And a very powerful one to be on display. And so hopefully he, she, they, them, whoever finds a great organization that will house their work, because it needs to be shown, apparently.
From your lips to God's ears.
Yeah.
And they'll probably become more popular out of this.
Right?
So let us know who you are. We're going to support you.
Right.
But like you said, it probably took them months and years to prepare for this art show. So like they just go, paint by numbers like me. But they go ahead and now it's like,
bye.
Window.
Sorry. You're
Well,
no
now
more.
also the artist, one of the artists was Canadian too, so that speaks to in terms of the border and stuff, and then how obviously international arts and culture is affected that way too, and they're thinking and looking into like ways of like how do you screen that, and that's so ridiculous. How do you terminate or screen art? You know what I mean? Like that is it's so weird,
Well, that is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing queer